you so very much for having me today, dear colleagues. I am here to speak a little bit about the skilled migration strategy that the German government had actually put forward over the past years. I know that there has been a lot of comments already mentioned about our cooperation, so I think I'm going to be skipping a few of the slides, so please don't mind that. And I will be diving in almost immediately. Just to start off, as has already been mentioned, we are having a massive demographic crisis. Crisis is perhaps a little bit of an extreme statement, but still we are having a massive demographic shift. As has already mentioned, here there are a few numbers about what is indeed happening in Germany and why we are taking so much care as to the sector-specific consequences. So we do need a lot of skilled migrants currently also in the nursing sector, in the IT sector, in the green tech sector, just to name a few as I move forward. The rest has already been mentioned, so let's jump forward. We already know why India is such a deep partner for us. We already see that with the amount of new workers joining the Indian labor market, it has been confirmed to us that there will be no brain drain when we are working with India. That's why India has also been targeted as a focus country. And as has already been mentioned, the MMPA signed with India was the first for the German government, so you can also see the symbolic value that this actually inclines. Here are some of the numbers with regards to the value added, indeed, as mentioned by the consul earlier, of Indians who are working in Germany. But please excuse me, I'm going to be skipping these a few since I have just 10 minutes time to be speaking. So I'm going to jump directly into what precisely the German government has been doing. But just as I'm skipping, you can see a few of the numbers as to why Indian skilled migrants, but also students, are important to us. With regards to the triple win, it's been spoken. But here I now come to the measures of the German government over the past years and what this actually entails. So first and foremost, the idea with the skilled migration strategy was to ensure that we have two objectives that are fulfilled. On the one hand was the legal framework. So that is something that has been worked on over the past 4 years, as is already also been mentioned lightly. On the first side, we had the liberalization of the migration law, which also took place or is in force now since June 2024. We had the update of the blue card regulations, expanding it to IT professionals, but also lowering the threshold for the salary requirements. We had the introduction of the Chancenkarte, as has also been mentioned. We have the application of the Berufserfahrungsregelung, so the work experience regulation, which is also applicable to all professions under particular specifics that also has to be fulfilled. We have the vocational training aspect with the labor migration for apprentices. We have the flexibilization of regulations for students, also with regards to the working conditions. So students are now also allowed to engage in part-time employment during their studies. So as you can see, there has been quite considerable movement also in the legal frameworks that the government has been undertaking, especially also our ministry, in order to encourage skilled migration on this particular department. But of course, the second aspect was the broader framework. And the broader framework for successful migration also entails the placement and matching. It entails the language support. It requires the qualification recognition and the welcome culture. So there I also have a few things to say. So to begin with, what has the German government been doing? Before I speak about this, I encourage also everyone to please read the Skilled Migration Act of India, which was actually released from our side, because there are a lot of specifics that I also encourage you to look up. A lot perhaps is not known. I will introduce a few today, but I also encourage truly that everyone goes through it and knows that this exists. So for starters, we have the effective matching. So as you can see, we are expanding programs to match in place Indian skilled workers in Germany, as a few have already been mentioned from different ministries. We are also working with promoting the German language. We understand the challenges. I'm sure a lot will be mentioned today again, but we are aware of this and we are working on it. We are working on the streamlining of recognition procedures. As you can see, we have already the work experience regulation, which is easing some of the process. Also, this is something we are very much aware of and we are working on. We have the visa process, which was also one of the hurdles, but that is also been worked on. We are digitizing that area, but also we are expediting the process. So we are also scaling up, as you perhaps are aware of over the past years. And this is not without the welcome culture. As has already been mentioned, all the states are also working very hard to make sure that this particular culture of welcomeness is available and accessible to as many people as possible, to show that we are not just stating in our policies that we want skilled migrants, but we are also going the extra mile to actually implement this. And not to forget, we are working very closely with the Indian government in order to ensure that any hurdles that are actually brought up are also addressed as soon as possible and also are dealt with. So I am currently from the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, so I would like to also speak on what precisely we are doing in order to showcase where we stand. Our main engagement was indeed through the contribution of the FAG, but also in our work with the MMPA. So we are working very closely with the Indian government, and there we are also having our own different meetings, which we are very much engaged in. Simultaneously, we are working very closely with the Auswärtiges Amt, so the Federal Foreign Office, in the working group for migration. We are also working on a study which was actually brought up about the global skills framework, which was actually initiated during the G20 presidency of India. And we are very much looking forward also to the results that we are going to be getting on this. And simultaneously, of course, we are working with the BA, so the Federal Employment Agency, who is having various different programs, two of which I will also introduce today, namely the APAL and the Triple Win. And additionally, the BA is also working with other programs, namely with the pilot project on advising Indian students in Germany, but also in engaging at job fairs to make sure that some sort of placement is actually taking place and matching. But I will explain a little bit more on that in a moment. And as you can see, the BA also continues truly to improve their own platforms, that it is as accessible as possible to the Indian students and skilled migrants here in Germany. But before I dive into the programs of the BA, I would first like to indeed address two of the points about the visa digitization and expeditation. As you can see, that is also a concern that has been taken note of. This was also mentioned in the skilled migration strategy India. As I said, you can have a little bit more of a look on the details there. There is not too much time to dive into it. But as you can see, there is also a scale up taking place there. And additionally, we have the FIT program. This is in particular targeting Indian students because we are aware that there is a gap between the students who are here and then joining the labor force. So we are also actually investing in, or the DAAD has received now funding of almost 120 million, where they are actively engaged in two particular projects. One is Profi Plus, the other is the FIT program, where they are working on actually producing programs in order to connect the students, but also in order to ensure success, but also the integration of them thereafter into the labor force. So this is something that is being worked on. We have also positive examples, but I will not have the time to dive into it right now. Please do really look into the skilled migration strategy India. Jumping a little bit forward, Triple Win and APAL, I'm sure there is a lot of questions about what this actually is. Triple Win is about recruiting nursing professionals from India that is very much targeted. In India itself, we are working with recruitment agencies, so state recruitment agencies, two of which precisely are the Norca in Kerala, Norca Roots, sorry, and Tomcom in Telangana. And the whole idea behind is, as mentioned, to make sure that these skilled professionals in the nursing sectors are provided support through the visa application process and so forth, and are matched with companies here in Germany or hospitals that require them. The APAL program is also a very interesting program. It is actually, it was started in Latin America. It was very successful there. That's why it has also then been brought now to India. Concretely, right now, this program is being implemented in Delhi with the possibility of also it being expanded to Maharashtra. In Delhi, we are working with the Goethe Institute as well as the Delhi Board for School Education. And at the same time, the cooperation partners in Germany are the ZAV and the BA, who are also, the ZAV, sorry, is the International Specialized Services in Germany. And they are working together to ensure, perfect, to ensure that indeed, for starters, the trainees in India are having language preparation, but then they are also having employers on the other side who are covering the costs. So it's about apprenticeship migration here when it comes to Germany. And of course, as mentioned, the visa procedures and the first rent payment would then also be paid. As such, I think now I'm slowly hitting my time. So thank you very much. I will be here today as well. If you have any concerns, you may address that with me, and I will be taking it back to my unit. So thank you so very much again.